Hey everyone, welcome to the VS Code Insiders podcast, a brand new podcast where we want to talk about all the latest and greatest for developers inside of VS Code in sort of like small little snack pack size podcast, audio and video that you can grab. I am one of your hosts that you'll see here, James Montemagno. I lead our developer community team here at Microsoft. And with me today is the one and only Pierce Bogan. How's it going, Pierce?
It's going amazing. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, if people don't know who you are, Pierce, we've been on lots of live streams, but we have some new listeners. What's your role here at Microsoft on the VS Code team?
I am the product lead for the VS Code team. So I oversee all of our PMs working on VS Code.
Yeah, and Pierce and I have worked together for like 14 years. We've done lots of podcasts, talked a lot about other things, lots of live streams. And it's awesome. I work super close with Pierce every single day. And there's been just tons and tons inside of VS Code every single week, all the time. Now, we call this the VS Code Insiders podcast, but Pierce, you don't have to be like inside of an exclusive club to actually use insiders. Like, is that true?
No, it's not a special club. Contrary to popular belief online, you can just Google VS Code Insiders. It's our daily build of VS Code. So the work that our engineers literally merged into main yesterday, you can use today. So you download it. It's a different icon. That's the only scary part. Instead of blue, it's green. And you can use it side by side with stable. And so, yeah, like we're going to be covering all the latest stuff that's going into insiders every single day. And that's the best way to really get the latest and greatest from the VS Code team. The AI space is moving so fast. Insiders is going to give you the way to get the best experience. So definitely give Insiders a try. Just Google VS Code Insiders, download it, install it. It works just like VS Code because it is VS Code, just the daily version.
And I have it side by side, the main line. So blue icon, green icon. I ride, unless you tell me otherwise, Insider basically every single day. And I get the update every single day. VS Code updates so quickly. And also, all of the extensions are also on pre-release there as well. Now, you can change that if you want to, but you're not only getting the latest VS Code, but you're getting the latest extensions enhancements as well. So that's another thing to point off. So if you want to see, like often Burke and you and I are like tweeting and posting about the latest features, or you see something, it might be an insider. So give it a look. I love it. Use it every day. And then the cool part is if something isn't working for you, the main line is right there. Just open it up and you're totally good to go. But I actually want to talk about the main line today, and specifically GPT-5 and the rollout and what's available for developers, because in 103, which just came out, so 1.103 is a release, there was tons of huge enhancements. I want to focus on agentic development today. And I want to talk about GPT-5 and GPT-5 mini. What do developers need to know, Pierce?
GPT-5 is the latest model from OpenAI. We've done a ton of evals and testing here internally, and I'm seeing huge improvements over my experience with GPT-4.1. We did a ton of work with the OpenAI team and some of our data science team internally on evals and work like that. We've also kind of worked on optimizing the prompts for GPT-5. So if you've used something like GPT-4.1 in the past, it can kind of get off track. It can go in different directions from time to time. It is an incredibly fast model, so that's something that's quite nice about it. But with GPT-5, you kind of get a lot of the same benefits in terms of speed, time to first token, etc. But you're also going to get better task compliance, so it's going to stay on track kind of as it works through your task. And it's not as like heavy on overly doing tool calls. So like if you're in agent mode, you'll notice sometimes you get the like read file. It's much better about doing like full file reads and kind of minimizing tool calls while still kind of doing exactly what you want. It's also not overly chatty, but does explain what it's doing. So I think I like every model has a personality, James, and I kind of like the personality of GPT-5 a lot. So I've been using that pretty much 50-50 with Sonnet 4 these days for most of my personal development.
Yeah, I've been doing the big switch in my code spaces and in VS Code every single day, just really trying to work. Whenever a new model came out, even when we were going from Sonnet 3.5, 3.7, and 4, each of them kind of work a little bit differently. And the same is true here with 5. And it's interesting you say that it's not as aggressive at tool calling. I will say this, it's also better at tool calling. So I think that's one thing when you're working with MCP servers, like it does do a better job of just doing it and just calling the tools, but not being like overly aggressive. I feel like it is a balance between the work that I was doing in 4.1 and Sonnet 4, specifically, which Sonnet 4 loves to explore. I like to call it's sort of like a grand adventure. It's like you're going on a hike And it's like, I'm gonna go over here. And 4.1 was like, okay, I'm only gonna like be on the trail and like that's it. Like I'm not even gonna. And then 5 is like, okay, I'm gonna venture a little bit off the trail. So it's got these guardrails on it, which I really appreciate on there too. And now, so I've been trying to go all in, learn the model. And one thing that you said was very fascinating about this model specifically is its sort of task-based approach. Now, when people follow Burke, he has this beast mode, which we'll talk
Yep.
about a little bit later as well, and some cool integrations coming. But one thing about beast mode was this chat mode that you could do is it actually told it to create a task list to execute through. And there's a new feature in VS Code when using any model about to-do or task lists. Can you talk about that a little bit, Pierce?
Yeah, so I think planning workflows are really popular right now for agentic dev. And I think we haven't gone and done like a full, like, here is a giant spec and like break it down into tasks and all that. But one thing that's been very clear, kind of experimenting more with these models, not just the OpenAI models, but also the Claude models over the last couple months, is that as you accumulate more context, right? As we kind of work through the problem more and more, that's more context that can cause the model to get lost. And so a mechanism that can really help a lot is this to-do list mechanism. And so, like you said, Burke had put together a custom chat mode in VS Code that kind of used this to-dos concept. And in that case, it basically used Markdown within the chat message to generate a to-do list for basically my prompt, how to solve my prompt, and then it would kind of work task by task in that to-do list to actually accomplish what I wanted as my goal from the prompt. So similar in GPT-5, this is a part of our system prompt for GPT-5 inside of VS Code, so it's going to use to-dos. We will render them inside of the chat, kind of Markdown style, unless you use our new experimental feature inside of VS Code, where you can basically get a nice little UI view. And the cool thing about this is it's pinned kind of to the top of chat. So as like, chat can be quite noisy as you say, as your problem's being explored, we're doing tool calls, you kind of want the high level zoom out view of where the agent is and kind of trying to accomplish your goal. And so if the task list being pinned at the top and saying like, I got task 2 done, now I'm working on task 3, there's 5 total tasks. This is, I think, something that will really help the model performance in general. So you should see much better results with the OpenAI series, but we're trying to basically take this same to-do approach and see how it works with other models. Like if we take this same mechanism of improvement and apply it to Sonnet or Gemini, do we see also like relative gains compared to what we saw for the OpenAI series by using this technique? I suspect we will definitely see some gains. So it's cool because you kind of learn these things like as explorations, and then you're like, oh, well, now we need to try it with all the other models. So yeah, definitely give it a go because you're going to get way better kind of agentic responses from this. I mean, internally in our own self-hosting, we already see this. Like I'm literally shipping PRs to VS Code with GPT-5 using this approach. So when I try things out, I try to do like real world projects. I know you're the same, not like contrived things. And so, the to-do list mechanism, I think, makes a big difference in the quality of the outputs you'll get from agent mode.
I've been using it quite a lot because I like to see where it's at in its thought process. And it also helps me gauge how much time do I have left on this process. I often am running multiple chats at the same time. You can just spin up multiple chats in Editor, Big, and do multiple things when I'm working on different code bases. Maybe working on documentation, a different repo, like I'm working on a back end or front end. I might have different agents actually like working on back end and front end on different problems at the same time. Why not, right? It's all there for you. And I can track their progress. And also if it goes off track, or maybe my prompt wasn't detailed enough, I can stop it and actually just edit that original prompt too. You can just go back there. And it actually brings me to another great feature, which is the chat checkpoints, sort of like time traveling in your workspace. This is super cool. So there have been sort of like checkpoints you've seen along the way. Now you can easily roll back. And this mechanism, I don't know who worked on the team, but absolutely brilliant. Delightful, whoever did this. I would recently do
Justin.
Shout out to Justin. Redoing and undoing. So you can easily go back and forth inside of a chat. Let's talk about GPT-5 Mini. This is brand new. GPT-5 came out. It's a 1x premium request model. A lot of feedback from all of you listening, hopefully, and on social and inside of GitHub as well, as 4.0 and 4.1 are still unlimited requests when using GitHub Copilot. What is this GPT-5 Mini model that's now available at a 0x multiplier?
Yeah, so similar to other model variants. Like there's the main model that comes out, and then usually there's a nano or mini version of the same model that has a lot of the characteristics of the big model. So you try to retain a lot of the performance characteristics of it, like how it works and the positive outputs you get and things like that. And it's much cheaper to serve. And so OpenAI announced this new mini model. And so, like you said, James, like the exciting thing about this is like a lot of the things we just talked about with GPT-5, you get with GPT-5 mini, and you get unlimited requests. So, depending on what plan you're on, you have a different amount of premium requests, right? But the really cool thing about the mini variant is that it's super fast. So I actually think I was talking to the team earlier today. We have some unique UX challenges with these models now. I'm glad we're in this place because the GPT-5 mini variant, at least as of right now, it's streaming so fast into chat, like the output from the model, that it's like jarring almost, right? So we get kind of very fast speeds. A pro tip I would say is like use something like GPT-5, Sonnet 4, even one of the reasoning models like an ask or edit mode like Opus or O3, and basically build a plan. And then you can get a lot of the same quality outputs by using that, switching to the mini 0x variant for GPT-5 to actually execute your plan. And that's a good way to kind of save on your premium requests while still getting a lot of the quality that you would expect from using one of the premium models.
Very nice. Yeah, I love that planning model as well. And I do that all the time, not only for working with the different models, but also when I'm working with the coding agent and drafting up issues as well. We're going to keep this short and tight. I do want to talk about a few other features and then maybe some sneak peek features and insiders as well that you can grab. One thing I will point out is that it is now easier than ever to actually delegate tasks to the coding agent. If you go into your settings and type in agent sessions, there's a UI toggle and also a way to see all of the chats and interact with the chats in real time that are happening on your repos with the coding agent on github.com. So what's really neat about this is it's transformed how I work. Maybe I start a process and I start working on something, and then I have a bigger idea and I don't have time to finish it because I want to do something else. Or maybe I just wanted to finish it later on and I want to go and work on something else. Or I'm just have a brand new idea and I want to go in the background. I'll often work with one of those models, which is coming with a plan. Maybe I'll have it open an issue with the GitHub MCP server, or now I just hit delegate. And what's really neat about that is it will automatically basically delegate that off to the coding agent on GitHub. It will then create that branch automatically, and then it'll open the chat for me. So it'll reference the pull request that's been created. And then additionally, a chat is open. I can see the entire session coming in and I can interact with the model in real time. This is kind of a game changer, how I've been working with the coding agent in general, and you can see all of them there. And the biggest thing for me is I'm often working on a branch, and often I have a crazy idea and I'm in the middle of something in the branch and I wanted to work off of this branch. And this is really nice because if you're working off a branch and you delegate to the coding agent, it will create a branch off of your branch. And that's like the nicest thing ever in the entire world. So huge shout out to the agent sessions and that PR integration. Super duper nice. All right, Pierce, this is the Insiders podcast. So I'll shout out to beast mode being integrated. The vscode Twitter account did it. How did that even come about? What is happening? How do people turn this on? I will put it in the show notes, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, like we have custom chat modes, right? And they append the system prompt with your own instructions. And so Burke had been experimenting for a while on how do we get GPT-4.1 to really behave in its best form. And so he had created a chat mode, beast mode. I mean, the dude is a marketing genius, branding genius, right? Beast mode. I wish we would actually like I think we call it like alternative GPT-5 prompt or something. And that's boring. We should have called it the beast mode setting. Let's be real. And so, people were trying it, sharing the chat mode, giving really good feedback. And so, one of the really cool things about Copilot Chat and the integration inside of vscode, all open source, right? So Burke and I put together a pull request. And we're like, well, if it works so good, why don't we just use that as like the system prompt, right? For GPT-4.1. And so we put together a PR. We ran some evals internally. My own personal opinion about evals is that they're directionally useful, but I don't like take them as gospel. But we were seeing some pretty impressive improvements with the beast mode prompts for GPT-4.1 specifically in our evals. And so then it was like, okay, this is good enough signal for us to get it in, setting, get your feedback. So yeah, it's now shipped inside of VS Code Insiders. Go give it a try. I said I like evals, but really like real world feedback is the most important for making sure that like these models are great. And so please go try the setting. And if there's any behaviors you notice that are strange, or if it's working great for you, please let us know, because this is the sort of feedback that will be helpful for us so that we can decide, like, do we actually want to flip this beast mode on as the default GPT-4.1 prompt, right? And then there's other things, right? Like, okay, if beast mode works really good for 4.1, well, should we try beast mode for Sonnet? Should we try beast mode for Gemini, right? Like, so there's a whole bunch of different variations we want to go try now, but I still believe like we have a lot of gains to come from improving our prompts. So if you look at our prompts, they're all open source. You can ask, like, clone our repo, go ask Copilot, how did these work? How are the model specific differences, shown in the different prompts? If you have ideas, like, submit us PRs. We'd love to see more prompt PRs, and I still believe that there's a lot of gains we can get from it, as evidenced by Burke's beast mode work. So super excited that's an Insiders.
Yeah, totally. One thing I'll point out in Stable today that you can do is actually manage your Copilot models. This is my new favorite thing. We talk about a lot of models. There's a lot of older models that I don't use anymore. Click Manage Models, click Copilot. You can pick and choose what you want. If you never want to use 4.0 or Sonnet 3.5 ever again, turn them off. You're good to go. One last one here. In Insiders, auto mode, what is happening?
So we've had a lot of, and this is when we've discussed a lot on the team internally, because I personally get very annoyed clicking continue and like approving the tool calls and things like that. But there is like very good like security reasons and things like that you want to kind of review tool calls and stuff. And so in general, I would say like the riskiest surface for these things is the terminal, right? And what it can do. And so we do have like an auto approve all tool calls setting, that YOLO mode, even though it's not called that. Corporate America, we call it auto approve. And so we have that. But then it's like, okay, well, what about for terminal? I don't really want to go all in on like approving everything. And I also don't want it to be so annoying that, like, when we're just like listing files in a directory, that's a pretty safe command. So I just want that to just work. So essentially, I totally lost my train of thought, James. What were we just talking about?
Well, the cool part about this auto is that there's going to be a new UI in Insiders right now that's a JSON setting. So for example, for me, the agent is always doing like .NET build, .NET test, .NET run. Like, you can just have it automatically do those things, which is super duper nice. So that is a great setting. I literally go in, type in max, type in auto into your settings. You're going to see a bunch of things. And I'll point this out too. Some things are available in Insiders and also in Stable, and they're marked as preview or experimental, even though they're inside of it. So sometimes we talk about, this preview or this experiment is only inside of Insiders, but a lot of these are also available in Stable. So give those a look. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to keep it under 20. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it tight for this one. Now, what's really cool about this podcast is that you have the video form. I'm going to put little, things that you can see things in action. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to take some time on the vscode YouTube, youtube.com/code. Of course, you'll be able to find this podcast on any of your podcast feeds. So just search for the VS Code Insiders podcast. That is this one. Like, subscribe. It's a brand new podcast, so leave reviews, send it to all of your developers at your company. Want to boost it as much as possible. Let's put this thing into beast mode. But I think that's going to do it. Pierce, thank you so much for joining us on this one. You'll see Pierce, you'll see me, you'll see other people. And we're going to have exclusive interviews as well with community members, creators out there, and the engineering and PM team right here at Microsoft. So stick with it, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.